Good evening and welcome to the July 17th, 2019 regularly scheduled East Long Meadow Board of Library Trustees meeting. It is now approximately 6:05 p.m. and I'm calling this meeting to order. I'm going to ask Melanie on my left if you would start our roll call.
Melanie Manheim.
Layla Johnston.
Kendra Lebeck.
Diane Tiago.
David Boucher.
This meeting is being audio and videotaped for future broadcasts on LCAT. And our first order of business is the minutes of the June 19th meeting. Did everybody? Yeah. Any questions, any edits, any? So if everyone's doesn't have any issues, can I have a motion to accept?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting of June 19th,
Okay.
2019.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I can second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Okay. All right. The next item we have here is for guests' opportunity to address the board. We do not have anybody present at this point in time, but should someone come in, we'll certainly give them our attention. Our next item is the director's report.
So I'm pleased to report that the planning board unanimously revoked the requirement in the library special permit requiring we allow the public into staff work areas in order to access the door adjoining town hall and the library. After the required 20-day appeal period, I will file the certified copy of the decision with the Hampden County Registry of Deeds. The 20-day appeal period expires on June 18th. I recommend discontinuing the vestibule door policy. The library's annual ARIS report is completed and included. I brought it with me here, so we'll hand that out and review that after probably old business. So we'll need to make some changes to the Board of Library Trustees book award procedure.
Yep.
The finance director reviewed the procedures required to authorize payments from all library accounts and wants us to make some changes if the board decides to continue offering the award. I recommend that the board form a committee that can make a recommendation to the full board regarding book award procedures. The committee would work with me, would work with the finance director, Sarah Menard, East Long Meadow High School Secretary, Terry Hellier, and the East Long Meadow High School guidance counselors to ensure that the award process is followed in a consistent method that other organizations also have to follow. Updated award procedures will need to be reviewed and approved by the finance director, Sarah Menard. And summer reading, we're in the middle of summer reading right now. We're very busy with a universe of stories. We have over 1,000 children registered for summer reading program and nearly 300 people attended our kickoff event on June 20th. We also had on Friday our visit from Blades, the Bruins mascot, and Senator Lesser was here and read the story to the children. We had a packed community room. We were full. Our registration was 50 for that, and so with parents and kids and MBLC representatives and so forth, we had a very fun and very packed day.
Cool.
And that's my report.
Any questions or comments for the director? Oh, Layla, I got questions. If no one else does, I just wanted to know, I just wanted to ask you, if the planning board revoked the special permit.
No, they revoked the requirement that allows us to provide public access.
Okay,
I brought it with me.
okay. So,
The special permit still stands. In the special permit is the modification
okay,
that requires us to allow public access to the door.
Okay. So the reason why the discontinuing of the vestibule door policy is because,
The public will no longer have access to staff work areas.
okay. Okay, I just took it as automatic that seeing as the public wouldn't have access, that would just automatically just discontinue the policy itself. No?
The board would have to vote. That's why it's on the agenda.
Okay. But, I was thinking of the Patriot Act. And that we had a policy at one point in time about the Patriot Act. And like that kind of, I'll call it disintegrated, and it just was an automatic pull. So that's what I was thinking when I was reading this, was that it was just kind of an automatic thing that the board did not really have to take into consideration, but I have no problem with it. I just was asking you. And then I just wanted to mention to the board that at the high school in May, it is referred to as awards night, which means the students are recognized for what they have done in school. It doesn't necessarily mean scholarship night, although some scholarships are issued by nonprofit organizations. And I'll give you an example, such as the Rotary Club. They're a nonprofit. And what happens is the East Long Meadow Garden Club, they have a scholarship. They are a nonprofit organization. So therefore, students have to fill out applications, and what they receive the night of awards night, based on how it was done with my children way back when, was they would receive an award from these nonprofits saying how much money, not that they personally would receive, but once they received acknowledgement that the student was going to a particular school, they would then issue the check to the school in which the student was going to be attending. So in other words, this takes place, or for some of them are juniors for what we did.
Right.
But for some, it would mean, well, you gotta wait until you've been accepted by a college and you've made some type of commitment between yourself and the college before the other nonprofits would issue a check. So I just,
So it
so
could be
this
a
is
year lapse.
this is it could be, but this is definitely something that I don't know how it was created, but there definitely is a difference between a book award and what was transpiring. I guess that's the right word to say, with the transpiring with good intentions, I think. So whatever the subcommittee wants to take a look at this, that's, I think it's worthwhile. But if, let me put it another way too, if, let's say they wanted to do a library, it would have to be the Friends that would do a Friends of the Library scholarship.
That's what I was thinking.
With their money type of thing, rather than how we have proceeded in
Would
the past.
the Friends be allowed to do that though in their bylaws? I don't know that they can.
I was just saying, like off the top of my head, it would have to be a private entity.
Like the
We're-
Rotary Club. Like
Yes,
the,
yes,
the,
yes.
Garden Club.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't even know if the Lions Club does them.
yeah. So that's all I was
Okay.
saying. If there was going to be some type of connection with the library, it would normally it would have to be something that the Friends would have to think about, not, So, anyways, I think it was a really good point to bring out and so forth. And then you mentioned the summer reading program, and you mentioned how many children. Do you have an idea? Because I know we're trying to emphasize keeping the teens involved and so forth. Do you know, has that?
We don't register the teens because they don't like to sign up.
Oh, yeah.
Teens don't want to be pressured to commit to that kind of thing.
Right.
So what we do at the end of the program is we tally up the scratch tickets that they're giving out.
Okay.
So each teen that reads a book or participates in a different type of summer reading activity will get a scratch ticket. They're either an instant winner or they enter for a drawing. And so after the program is concluded, we'll add those up to get an estimate of how many participants we have.
Yeah, but it does. Anyways, I'm hoping to see that that connect. Here, I'll give this back to you. All right.
Thank you.
So did you want to do a little bit about the IRIS report now, or did you want to?
We can do it now.
Okay. And then.
So we had new software this year. Any of you that may have seen the report in the past, the layout is going to be different. We switched from, can you hand I'll take the one that's not stapled. Sorry about that. I didn't know she stapled them.
Thanks. Oh.
Some of this
is
not going to make, be all that interesting to some of you. However, so we'll just go through and I'll kind of point it out, especially for Kendra. The first part, so this is a requirement for our state aid grant. And this is the first portion of this that I'll complete, which is all our statistics for the year. And so the first part is just the general information. So it shows you the name of the library, the name of the director, the name of the chair, and so forth. The reporting period start date and the period ending date. Salaries and staff education levels. And we can flip through that.
Yeah.
And so staff totals, that's 18 total hours per week, or how many hours everybody works. Some of these numbers aren't going to add up exactly because, for example, Kristen and I each have a master's, so you don't enter the number again and say, oh, you also graduated high school, you also, that's going to be assumed. And again, also with the change in the software, number of staff working 35 hours or more, that's 8, and then number of staff working fewer than 35 hours, that's 10. Holdings that might be of more interest to everybody, and so that shows how many books we have, for example, for adults. Total adult materials, 112,270 items, so that's going to be all of our adult DVDs, our Kindles that we circulate, our hotspots, those kind of things, followed by the young adult holdings, and then children's. And then you'll see our totals are on the next page. And total holding materials in the collection are 158,687 items. And then that's going to be different from our digital resources, which are going to be under the electronic collections. And so that includes digital magazines that we have available. They're called RB Digital. We also have local databases like Ancestry. People use that for genealogy or consumer reports. And it shows how many online resources we offer. So usage of electronic collections is 16,865, which is very good compared to last year's. We're up about 1,000 in that area. And then for total circulation, as of June 30th, I'm going to switch to the next page over here. We've got our totals. So the total print circulation is 190,475. And I would like to point out and acknowledge the very hard work of both Michelle Lemire, she's our children's librarian, and her staff, Darcy Kane, Jamie Hegman, as well as our cataloger, Kristen Savaria. Our circulation of print materials of children's books is up 4,000 from last year. Last year we were at 52,000 books, and this year we're at 56,000. That is a huge increase for 1 year, and that is because Michelle has been aggressively weeding, which means pulling old and outdated materials from the collection. She's been aggressively reorganizing, making the patron space much more user-friendly. We get many, many compliments and comments from patrons about the new seating area, for example, just making the collection much more fresh, organized, and so forth. So those, to go up 4,000 in 1 year is enormous, combined with all of the other hard work that she and her staff put in. And Kristen had to, as part of that, go through and change call numbers for certain items, relabel certain things to make them more user-friendly and easier to find. Lot of hard work behind the scenes went on there for that boost. So overall, our circulation is at 205,498 for last fiscal year, which is fantastic. The non-resident circulation transactions, that is also very important for our state aid component because we are reimbursed, and that number changes slightly every year depending on what's in the budget and then depending on how many other libraries are certified and all these other factors that come into it. This year, the reimbursement per transaction will be about 15 cents. And so for let's say I check out a book here, and I'm a Springfield resident. Anytime I check out a book here, the library is reimbursed that amount that I just said in order to encourage all of us to cooperate and share through CW Mars, through the one card. That's the easiest way that I can think of to describe it. So our, this here, we're C61, number of items circulated at library to residents of other Massachusetts municipalities certified for state aid to public libraries, 82,475. So those are actual residents of Longmeadow, of Wilbraham, of Springfield, of other neighboring communities that walk through our doors and check out their items here. And so our total, then you've got the C63 is are anybody who may happen to, let's say, live in Connecticut, but they work here in East Longmeadow and they use our library. That's where that number comes from. So our total collection use is 207,340. You can see the total physical circ there is 175,895, and electronic is 31,445. And that does include, I've had somebody ask me, that does include all of our overdrive digital books are included in that electronic content use section. Services, total hours, the main library was open. You'll notice that that went up because we were open on Saturdays during the summer in 2018 for the first time in the history of the institution. So we're very pleased about that. And again, the total hours that the library system was open on Saturdays, that's up to 338. Total attendance, we track that by using door counters. Total attendance in the library system, so we had 164,374. That number might be a little bit low. We had an issue with incorrect batteries in one of them. So we'll just take a look next year and see if that had much of an impact or not. Total reference transactions, 4,456. And then we've got the total adult programs, 104, with a total attendance of 1,085. YA programs, we're at 65. That went up significantly from the previous year. Total attendance at teen programs was 345. And then again, we have our very popular children's programs. We had 343 children's programs with a total attendance of 8,395. Great numbers. This is just a very well-supported library. Our residents love us, is what I hear all the time, especially, you know. And so then the last component, we've got the number of registered borrowers. 11,148, and the registered borrowers that are East Long Meadow residents are 6,879. So a town with a population of around 1,500, you have almost 50% of your residents as library card holders, which is a very impressive registration. Public computers. The MBLC likes to know how many people are using the public computers and the public internet. Wireless sessions. So we had a typical week on the public computers. We served 259 people. And then the wireless provided annually 7,495 sessions of that. They ask specifically about services to children. Friends group, I did not have a contact to put in because the position is vacant, was the information that I was given about the president. And then again, just asking, square footage of the building, what year was the building built. We have 74 dedicated parking spaces, study rooms, and that's it. So every year, just so Kendra knows, every year we have to collect all these statistics from all of our various sources and put it all together and submit it to the MBLC. And then the second part of that process is the application for state aid. And that has a number of other requirements that we'll just go over at the time, as the time grows near. Did anybody have any questions about the ARIS?
I'm sorry. I just want to know, in comparison to a year ago, it keeps climbing. It continues to keep climbing.
Well, some of our statistics are flat because they should be flat. Because, for example, DVDs. Actually, DVDs have gone down almost every year because of streaming services and that kind of thing. It doesn't mean that people aren't using the facility. They're using us in different ways.
Yep.
Right.
So that would be, for example, DVD is a big one that all libraries throughout the country are seeing a big drop.
Look
at
us from VHS.
Yeah.
Same difference.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So where it increased the most were children's books, probably from the reorganization and the weeding, and the teen program attendance were the two biggest increases.
Wow. I love hearing it. I'm sorry all that work in a way, but it's positive, all positive,
But yeah, so the next step is now Diane has to sign it so that I can send it to the MBLC. It has to be signed in pen.
Yeah. Did you want blue or black's fine?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Wow.
But then I send all that in, and then they'll let me know it was received. And then after that, they'll open the other part of the reporting that I have to do, and there will be more statistical work as part of that as well, and then send it in. Makes it sound so easy.
A lot of work.
Tons.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I have a quick question. The
Yeah.
number on the borrowers, branches, and bookmobiles.
Sure.
The number of registered borrowers, that's how many card holders we have?
Yes.
And that
Yeah,
number
and so that would
underneath was the
include-
East Long Meadow card
Yeah.
holders.
Yep.
Individual card.
Mm-hmm.
Would you give this back?
Thank you.
No problem.
So yeah, very good
Jeez.
results, if you will. And if you haven't in a while, stop by the children's room and you can see the new layout and just the way the freshening of the space and the reorganizing of the collection has clearly generated some good results.
Okay.
Excellent. So, do I hear a motion to accept the director's report?
I can make a motion to accept the director's report for July 17th, 2019.
And do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay. Okay, so the vestibule door policy. I'm in total agreement here with the director as far as
To discontinue
to
it.
discontinue the vestibule door policy. I believe, and David, maybe you can clear it up for me. Wasn't that door originally intended just for like, we'll say office, so like W.B. Mason,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like when,
Yeah.
is it, the books were
Delivered.
delivered?
Yeah.
So I think it's the right thing
Yeah,
to
it
do.
is, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I guess we need a motion to discontinue the vestibule door policy, and that way, if we're all in favor, we can take it right off the website as soon as possible.
So I'll make a motion to discontinue the policy for public use of the vestibule door policy.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, Kendra. And all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Great.
And Kendra, you seconded it?
Yes, she did.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Okay. This is old business. This has to do with the library trustees bylaws. And Melanie, you and Michael were going to take.
Yes, we did.
And you did.
We met once, so Michael and I still have to meet again. I did send him an email since he's recovering and what have you, so let me pass this to all of you, if you can pass these down. So I kind of, I printed up the policy of what we have now,
Okay.
and I made some changes. Of course, the only, the one that I have is in red, so you'll have to just bear with
Oh,
me.
I see.
So basically, Michael and I are addressing the bylaws, and all the issues thus far we will require about another month to meet again and finish everything up.
Okay.
We'd like you to peruse through what we have done thus far, and we will address the finished draft in September. We'll take your suggestions and recommendations into consideration and make appropriate changes as needed. So in the beginning of it, we have, I think on everyone's here, the areas that are in lighter ink, it was actually supposed to be in red, but it's in lighter ink. That's where Michael and I changed some of the wording that we thought was appropriate. Nothing set in stone yet, it's not just something right now that we have. We've only finished up until, if you look on the next page where it reads Article 4, Library Director and Staff. So Michael and I are going to meet hopefully tomorrow or sometime this weekend to resume the discussion of the rest of the policy. I just printed the first 2 pages.
Would you like this kept on the agenda for the August meeting? Do you want to wait? And you could let me know when you want these back on the agenda.
That would be great.
Because
So
I know he's recovering.
Let's pass on this coming month.
Okay.
And then, what is now, July? So we'll pass on August and then we'll revisit this in September. That would be great.
Sure.
Just so, if something comes up and you can't meet or what have you, we're not going back and forth.
Okay.
But so, just to let you know, for you to just pen on your on the documents here. So Section 3 is where we changed some of the wording. Section 4, the officer's first paragraph, which is Section 1. Duties of chairperson, the last one. Oh, actually, no, it's not the last one. It's the fourth one that we.
I am not the recording secretary.
You are not.
No.
Okay.
No.
Why did I have
So
that
that
in
should
my
be
notes
stricken.
that you are? Okay.
No. That should be stricken.
So who is
And there is
considered-
so the recording secretary is you. You're the secretary.
Even though I send everything to you and you send it to them?
I don't send it to anyone.
Okay.
The recording secretary would be your position.
Okay.
I maintain files, if that's what you mean. I maintain files so the public can come in and say, can I take a look at the minutes from the August 2014 meeting?
Okay.
Then I have a file that I bring them.
Okay.
And they can look at those. And then after the minutes are approved, I post them on the town website to be in accordance with open meeting.
Oh, that's not where the
Laws?
recording goes?
No.
Oh, okay, okay.
No, that's your official
Okay,
duty as the
okay.
person who
Just to keep
takes
all
the
this.
minutes, who takes the minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you for that understanding.
Yeah.
Okay, and what else did you say? The recording secretary is me.
And we don't have a town treasurer, so I think pretty much this whole line can be stricken. The library director shall act as recording secretary and the town treasurer shall act as treasurer. That's not our form of government.
So I thought, okay, all right, I see the recording
Uh-huh.
secretary part. That's okay. I will change that.
Yep.
But I thought at the last meeting, we talked about the treasurer, since we are not since we're not a governing body,
Mm-hmm.
there's no more treasurer on our board. I thought that was the treasurer, the town treasurer. Isn't that how you explained it last time?
There is no town treasurer, so I'm not sure.
Oh, the finance director.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking. Okay.
Yeah, we have a finance director. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I don't think you need that entire sentence because it doesn't really apply to
Okay.
to
For
the
us.
business functions of
Okay.
this particular.
All right. I will
Yeah.
change that with Michael.
Yeah, you can just strike that.
Strike the entire sentence. Okay. All right. Thank you for explaining that.
Sure.
Okay. And I think that was it. And then Michael and I will finish Article 4 and beyond that to take a look at everything. So we basically looked at a couple other libraries' bylaws and just saw what other libraries are doing. One of the for the lack of attendance, we were just saying, any trustee who misses 3 held meetings during a calendar year without extenuating circumstances. So, you can take a look at how that would incorporate with our board. We were kind of debating back and forth with the chairperson, if we should rotate that position or if they should just be on a board for 2 years versus the entire 3.
Right.
Michael and I kind of had different opinions about that. One was, okay, well, if nobody else wants to step up or has the time to be chair, how would that, and I also told Michael, I said, I enjoy being secretary. It's very, I keep very accurate notes. If somebody else would ever want to take that position, okay, I will understand and what have you, but, just to keep it consistent, instead of flip-flopping every year. So it's just something to think about, so you can take a look at this and then we'll get that.
I think we might need to change some. I'll just, I'll make some notes and I'll send them to you and Michael because, for example, the candidate shall be sworn in at the town clerk's office immediately. I don't know that this particular group can make instructions on that because the appointment is done through the town manager. So that would not be something that this group can require someone to do.
Okay. Because I know that on the paperwork that I received from the town manager, it basically said that.
Then that's fine. It'll be covered by that paperwork. This group cannot incorporate that into their bylaws.
Okay.
They cannot instruct on something that they don't have the authority to instruct on.
Okay. So I have to basically take it a step back from what actually happens to where the instructions are in their policy.
I don't know what you mean.
So I said the candidate shall be sworn in at the town clerk's office. Okay, so
you
a
could just
step
strike
back
the
would be
word
the town
immediately.
manager.
No, you just strike the word immediately. You just say, the candidate shall be sworn in at the town clerk's office and will complete the unexpired term. Because that takes care of, you just can't put that time restriction on there and say, you're gonna go do this immediately. When that might not be the instructions that were given from the town manager, and that is under the town manager's purview.
Okay.
And if I might just, a thought that went through my head, under the lack of attendance there.
Okay.
Okay, it says any trustee who misses 3 held meetings during a calendar year. Well, any one of us could be out 3 times in a calendar year. I think what we might want to be looking at is like 3 consecutive meetings, which would be like three meetings, 3 months worth,
3 in a row.
3 in a row type of thing, not
Okay,
missing 3 in 1 year, because,
okay.
so
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
but like, this is just a draft, and,
Okay.
okay. And
Oh.
if anybody has any other, any other thoughts or so forth, or see anything, just send them to Michael or Melanie,
Okay.
and
I'll change that part.
I see. All right. Well,
But I'll not put it on in August, like you said, and we'll give
Okay.
everybody plenty of time to email,
And
the committee.
Michael and I will talk about
And then
the-
you guys can put
the
together a
changes.
recommendation. Sure.
Okay, sounds good.
all right. Moving on. Other business. Library Friends news. Well, I guess what I can say is that, well, let me first explain the Friends fiscal year. The Friends fiscal year runs May 1st to April 30th, okay, of the next year. Their annual reports are due in the month of May. And their reorganization of their board takes place in June. So, as far as I know, at this point in time, there is no president of the Friends as of July 1st. But, things may change between now and September. So right now, what they're doing, or plans for September, is a rotation type of situation. I think, I think it was Tony Raskowski is going to at least conduct the meeting for September, and hopefully somebody will step up to the plate, and so forth. But as of right now, they're on their summer hiatus, and that's about all I can tell you. Is probably the last thing. As far as the trustees' update is concerned, I guess I have a question for Layla, because I didn't see anything on the MBLC's website, and I didn't see anything on the ALA website. So have you heard anything about how the state budget's been going, as far as did the governor approve?
Nope, we're still waiting.
Okay. And the same kind of thing for the federal government too, as far as funding for the list of grants?
I haven't heard anything.
Not-
Federal
not-
government is on an October fiscal year, so I
Oh.
don't know
Okay,
where they would be at that in that process.
okay. So that's only because that was an item that was mentioned in the spring. So anyways, I just wanted to double check, because I didn't see anything on anybody's website.
Yeah, we're still waiting on the for the state budget.
Yep. All right. So anyways, last month's meeting was we had many discussions in it, and it was definitely a lot of food for thought. And so I just wanted to say to everybody here that I wanted to let you know about my involvement with the East Long Meadow Public Library. And I have been involved with this library for over 30 years, and I have never or will ever do anything that would put its existence or my reputation in jeopardy. I was the liaison between both boards for years and attended 2 meetings each month, one for the Friends and the other for the Trustees, in order to keep both sides up to date, even when I was not a trustee. The Articles of Organization for the Friends of the Library which were approved on June 28th of 1995. On their page 4C, item T, states that no person shall be disqualified from holding any office by reason of any interest. The term interest, including personal interest and interest as a director, officer, stockholder, shareholder, trustee, member, or beneficiary of any concern. The term concern, meaning any corporation, association, trust, partnership, firm, person, or other entity other than this corporation. It continues to say that any such director of this corporation may be counted in determining the existence of a quorum at any meeting of the directors or of any committee thereof, which shall authorize any such contract, transaction, or act, and may vote to authorize the same. However, I reiterate that due to my position as a trustee, I abstained from voting on all action items. I thought that Layla's concerns were, she made excellent points, ones that, I didn't cross my mind, but I have given a written letter of resignation to the Friends in June. And if you were to look at their slate of officers, which is on the Friends website, you will see who's on their slate, and I am not one of those individuals. I would just like to state something, and this is the last and only time it will ever be brought up, and it has to do with the Memorandum of Understanding. And what happens is the idea, I did not invent the idea of a Memorandum of Understanding, or was in the midst of negotiating one. The subject is in both the Trustee Handbook and United for Libraries, which strongly recommend that libraries and their friends groups develop a MOU. I believe a document entitled A Primer on Friends Operating Agreements, produced by the New York Friends of Library, provides the clearest explanation and purpose. And it states, the library's Board of Trustees, Friends, officers, and volunteers, and library administrators have relationships that are very closely intertwined. Cooperation among these three partners is critically important to the success of Friends and the library itself. But it must also be recognized that the responsibilities of these three entities, trustees, Friends, and library administrators, are truly separate and have different levels of authority. Now, how will the Friends be on the same page concerning the library's goals and direction for services and programs for the community? A Memorandum of Understanding is a written agreement that sets forth the principles and guidelines under which various parties promise to meet their goals. The MOU is a statement of commitments from each organization, the library and the Friends, giving consideration to the missions of both of these distinct and separate groups. United for Libraries, a division of the American Library Association, strongly recommends that libraries and their friends groups develop a MOU so that as the players change, the commitment from the library and the Friends stays stable. The agreement should be jointly drafted by the library board, library director, and representatives from the Friends to provide a mutually beneficial framework that all entities can work within to achieve shared goals. Its purpose is to put in writing the respective rules, responsibilities, and fiscal relationship between the library and the Friends. Some libraries determine to have the document reviewed by an attorney, but that is not a requirement to have a successful agreement. The MOU should be reviewed annually, but can be in effect for several years. If the parties change, such as the Friends president of the Board of Trustees, or library director, it would be wise to sign a new agreement, unquote. I provided a copy of a sample Memorandum of Understanding to each board and tried to describe its purpose to the best of my ability. Of course, everything written in the sample may not apply to East Long Meadow's situation, and perhaps something that is not mentioned might apply. So the big word here is if. The very last comment I made to the Friends regarding this subject was that if some individuals on their board were interested, they should first do some research and look at other libraries' MOUs. This board never discussed whether members might be interested in creating the document. However, in both cases, if the outcome was affirmative, then subcommittees would have needed to be created if the third partner, the library director, was on board. So the bottom line was if all three parties were receptive, then a draft would have to be created and then presented to the town manager. I thought the MOU was in the best interest of the library, and I interpreted that the director did not object. So my intention was not to overstep any invisible line, but to assist in helping three entities come together. I was not negotiating an agreement. Obviously, it was a misunderstanding, and there was never any conflict of interest, and I do appreciate the director's concern. The subject is closed. Moving on. Is there any other item that anyone else would like to bring before the board? Okay, hearing none. Our next meeting will be Wednesday, August 21st, 2019 at 6 p.m.
I will be on vacation.
Okay, David.
I just looked on
Good
the
for you.
calendar.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I appreciate you letting me know
no,
in
I-
advance.
It looked familiar, so
That's fine. That's fine.
It's a good date, right?
Yeah. Okay. And if that's all, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
I can make the motion to adjourn tonight's trustees meeting.
Okay, and do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and then all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, meeting adjourned till next time.